Hello, everyone, and welcome to the P1 Broadcasting Network. It's Murph, it's Collins, and you know what that means. It's Monday night, and it's time for the INDYCAR Open Series live from Sears Point Raceway, or Sonoma Raceway, or Infineon Raceway, as it was once known. And Jacob, this is more well known as a NASCAR track, but IndyCars came here for a good long time in the early and mid 2000s.
Yeah, I want to say the most recent event here would have been 2018, right when this car was introduced. I believe that was the title fight between Montoya and Dixon.
Yes, it was. 2005 to 2018, the IndyCars came here. They also visited in 1970 under USAT sanction. So this track has been a stalwart on the IndyCar schedule for many years. It was dropped in favor of Laguna Seca. Those two tracks really opposite ends of the Bay Area, and to be fair, Jacob, they're not. It doesn't make sense to have both on the schedule, so it doesn't make sense to have both on the schedule, and so when Laguna Seca came back, Sonoma got dropped.
Certainly understandable from a track location standpoint, for sure.
Very good. We have not visited this track in the sim in quite some time, and so this is going to be interesting in terms of drivers not being familiar with the track. It's also going to be interesting, Jacob, in terms of how you pass here. So drivers not as familiar. The track itself does not lend itself to passing opportunities very much. There's really, in an open wheel car and a formula car, there's really only a couple of passing zones. One at turn 7, and then the other one as you come down to to get the hairpin at the pit entrance. I've been told pit entry here is very treacherous, Jacob. Additionally, we don't really quite know much about the tires. The setups here aren't very refined. It's been about a year since we've been here, and you're going to see a lighter field just because there are a lot of regular drivers that don't own the track.
Yeah, I think one more thing to touch on is there may be that additional passing opportunity heading through turn 8 at the end of the straightaway after that carousel corner. That is an opportunity where you can maybe get alongside cars, try to nudge each other around the corner, who gets first to the gas, heading down towards those iconic S corners here.
They are indeed, and that's one of the things. If I had a gripe about this place, it's that the IndyCars don't use the full. They don't use the full S's. They have the bypass at turn 8A, and that's really, or 9A, excuse me, and really it's a function of the track. And safety and so forth. And there you see it. You've got the chicane instead of the full wide, long S curves that we've become so familiar with. But Jacob, we are getting close to we are actually involved in qualifications. And let's see if we can't jump on board one of the drivers here. Let's take a look at Frankie Franchica. And there's Frankie. Let's jump on board and Jacob, tell us what you see.
Well, this uphill section, you've got to slow down fairly early for and hold it very, very tight as we see him roll the curb on the inside of the track there. He's going to work his way up the hill here, and you can't really see where the apexes or the exits of those corners are. And coming down the hill here, likewise, he's got to get very early on the brakes, hug really tight. Very easy to overshoot the corner and slide into that grass on the outside. This carousel corner, likewise, got to hold very tight or you risk running wide and risk losing a ton of time there. Keeps it relatively tidy as he heads down what is the back straightaway here at Sonoma. Very tight hairpin corner at the end of this straight to then run down the S's, which to my understanding is likely flat foot from top to bottom in the IR18. If it's anything like its smaller brothers in the USF and Indy Pro 2000 cars. And now that's another corner here that's different than what you may see in the NASCAR layouts. There is that chicane at the bottom of the hill. And then this hairpin, they've got it marked off with cones. I was of the impression we weren't going to have any indication where this corner was here tonight, but working that hairpin of the shortened variety and back across the start-finish line.
And that is on the drag strip. The start-finish line is here. This, of course, also hosts an HRA events. We're watching Frankie Francica here as he navigates the Sonoma Raceway up through turns number 3 and 3A, through turn number 4, and that's going to be lap done for Frankie. Lance Simon and Taylor Langenberg have not taken time, and as with the time remaining in the session, Jacob, I don't believe they're going to have a chance to do so. Garrett Lilly was black flagged on his only lap, and there wouldn't be sufficient time now to get an out lap and get going one more time. And so the field is going to be set. We kind of mentioned it, we kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, Jacob. We kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, Jacob, in the fact that this is, Frankie's going to go back out, but that this was kind of a shorter field. It's a single split, and as such, we've got a 2400 SOF when normally we're used to seeing 4,000 and 5,000 out of this series. Again, is that a function of just the track not being as popular among open wheel drivers in the sim, and is it something where it's also a very difficult and technical course as well?
I think it's kind of a larger iRacing population issue, right? Is this track kind of plays host to NASCAR and not too much else. And a lot of the NASCAR guys aren't super big road racers. You know, we've seen it more recently with guys like Shane Van Gisbergen kind of showing that a road course driver can really come into NASCAR and come into their own with how road course heavy the schedule is. But there's still a lot of drivers that might have no reason to really be at this track. And it is a very tough track, regardless of the now 10 configurations it plays host to here in iRacing.
Most certainly. So we are watching Frankie Francica from the blimp. And there he goes down toward the hairpin at turn number 11A and 12. And there he goes through. This track has hosted some pretty iconic moments. It was Marco Andretti's first win. This is also, you know, if you go back and think about NASCAR races here, the famous Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace fight into the Tules at turn 7. You've got this was where Ricky Rudd was disqualified, and so all sorts of fun stuff has happened here, and even more fun is about to happen tonight in the sim. We are ready to go for 40 laps here at Sonoma. On the pole, defending series champion Rashad Craig. Alongside, he'll have Logan Edwards, the old narc brain, will go from P2. Thomas Van Kirk in the Dunder Mifflin machine, Jacob. He'll roll from third. Caleb Brashear in the second Luke Mansky Racing esports car. From fourth, Alex Miller and Mylan Vogelzang are going to start fifth and sixth. And then seventh and eighth, Isabel Matthews, Anthony, is it Heitzma? Hopefully I got that right. Good-looking machine for Brian Autry in the Scott Brayton special. There he is, Frankie Francica. We watched his qualifying run. We'll start in 10th. In 11th, Glenn Cate in the Tony Kanaan liveried automobile. He'll start next to João Pereira. Michael Pennant is going to go from 13th. There's Uncle Rob on Glakis. He is going to be 14th. Robert Nelson, 15th. Andre Alfieri is going to roll from 16th. Lance Simon will go from 17th. Tyler Langenberg, 18th, and not taking time. Garrett Lilly in 20th. Simon, Langenberg, and Lilly did not set qualifying laps. And Jacob, we are just about ready to have 40 laps of fun here at Sonoma. Now,
I think the other recent iconic moment here would be Tony Stewart's final win in NASCAR.
Yes, it was. Noted road racer Tony Stewart. You learn a lot about road racing when you grow up running sprint cars in Indiana on dirt, Jacob. That's usually most of what you learn when you do that. Tony Stewart, though.
Really?
Tony Stewart would be a natural. I don't care. If you were racing shopping carts around the Costco parking lot, Tony Stewart would be my favorite to win that race. We are rolling away from the grid. It is a full pace lap. Rashad Craig leads them away in the familiar Indy Alliance racing machine, and he is a solo effort today, Jacob. None of the other IR cars joined him. I was talking with Seb Alexander earlier. He actually doesn't. He's one of those that actually does not own the track. And so a lot of guys have elected to go to Las Vegas tonight and run an extra oval race. Looking from the rear bumper of the pace car, do want to thank Whiplash Simcams for the views tonight, and do want to thank all of our viewers. Do have a wonderful crowd out there. If you haven't already done so, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1, be notified of all future iRacing broadcasts. We've got Ryan O'Donohue in the house, AMA Final Forest in both series, Thursday and Friday nights here. They've had some big announcements, Jacob. Fully sponsored series in the Xfinity and in the truck side, which they do it a little bit in reverse, Jacob. Their Cup Series is their introductory series, and the trucks is the top level. Ryan O'Donohue made the Final Four in both of those, in both the Xfinity and the Truck Series. Came up just short on both nights at Phoenix, but good to see Ryan here. I do have a picture for Ryan later, by the way, and I need to get that off to him. He enjoys Jacob seeing me upside down in various guises, and yesterday I managed to get one stuck in the signboard area at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and so I'm sure Ryan will get a chuckle out of that. Remind me to send that to him later on, Jacob.
Absolutely, Mark. We know you love making the IndyCar turn into a plane.
Of course. Do want to thank everybody. Do want to thank everybody for joining in, though. This is about to get fun. We were kind of looking at weather. You couldn't ask for better, could you, Jacob? 68 degrees in the air, 75 on the track. There's wind out of the southeast. That is not going to be a problem. But it is very much a picturesque day for racing in the California wine country. And if you look around the hills, Jacob, you can see the grapes growing in the hills, can't you?
That you certainly can, and I could see some IR18s rounding this final corner here, getting to the front straightaway, ready to go.
Most certainly can. Rashad Craig is going to lead him toward the start-finish line. Barney has the green flag in the air, and we are underway. 40 laps here at Sonoma. Rashad Craig, big jump as they head down to turn number 1.
Luke Mansky racing cars of Edwards and Brashear following in tow. The rest of the field single file all the way back to P19.
Yes, they are. Everybody safely through turns 1, 2, 3, and 4. Headed down toward turn number 5 now, and they're going to head for the carousel, Jacob. Maybe the most famous corner on the course, the carousel here at Sonoma. There they go around and round, and then they're going to shoot out back on the drag strip, which is also the front straightaway here, and head up toward turn number 7 and 7A.
And then we get back towards the S's. We don't get quite as many of them here in the IndyCar, most recent IndyCar layout, as they'll head straight down towards a chicane at the bottom of the hill here.
Yes, they do. Do want to point out that Rashad Craig, Logan Edwards, Caleb Brashear, and Thomas Van Kirk, Alex Miller, the top 5, all started on the red alternate tires. I kind of got the feeling in talking with Rashad earlier today, Jacob, that the reds were going to be the preferred tire. He seemed to think that they were going to last, at least on his setup, throughout a full run, and so he thought that they would be preferred. The pit window here is anywhere between 20 and 23 laps, so just essentially two full stints here, Jacob.
I am receiving news from the track that we might not see a tire compound change in force tonight, potentially. Actually, no. I see it in the UI, so I don't know what my sources have been inquiring to me, but I do anticipate we'll see red runners try to run a good way into this race. Not a ton of heavy braking zones aside from maybe that chicane at the end of the back straight there, and that tends to be where you see the biggest gain from the primary tire, is those heavy braking zones being cookers on these softer alternates.
They are indeed. Do want to get back a little bit further in the field. because Robert Nelson has fallen way back through here. There's Robert in the number 4 machine. He had started. He started 15th. He's currently 14th, but he had been making some moves. He was up. He was up battling with Frankie Franchica, and then fell back to the 17th spot. So rough beginning for Robert Nelson. We're going to get back to the lead. Logan Edwards continuing to try to chase down Rashad Craig. Neither one of those drivers has touched the push to pass as yet, Jacob.
Well, you got to think that in most typical scenarios, people are using that on corner exits onto straightaways, usually of considerable length, but there's so many corners back to back to back here. There isn't a ton of opportunity to kind of get on the button and stay on it, aside from maybe heading down that back straightaway towards the chicane at the bottom of the hill.
There is not. A charger has emerged. That's Tyler Langenberg, and Michael Pennant spins out right in front of him. Tyler Langenberg is going to take what would be the 12th spot. Michael Pennant just went around in front of a passing Tyler Langenberg, and we need to get back and have a look at the replay, Jacob, because that was almost disaster for Tyler Langenberg. And here you see it. Langenberg started in the back. Remember, he did not set a qualifying lap, Jacob. He is following Michael Pennant in the Marlboro-hued, Marlboro Team Penske painted machine. They come over that brow, and the car gets very light there, and then the track falls away from you, going down into the turn 5 complex. Very easy to get too much rear brake in it and spin it around. Fortunately for the cars behind there, and he was running 12th in front of 5 or 6 automobiles. Fortunately for everybody getting through there, it just kind of harmlessly spun off into the dirt. And Michael Pennant able to get it going one more time. No damage on that machine, but he definitely lost a ton of track position, Jacob. Back up to the front, Rashad Craig has opened up a 3-second advantage over Caleb Brashear. Logan Edwards has fallen to 4th, and we need to figure out what happened to Logan Edwards.
I went back and actually looked at that, and it looks like he locked up and hit the inside curb of the chicane and slid basically slid his car all the way into the grass and had to basically refire it and continue on.
Oh, there we go. Let's see. We'll go back one more. Here's Logan Edwards. So he's coming down into what would be turns 9 and 9A then. What would be more or less the backstretch here at Sonoma. Here he goes, and there's the curbs. There's the lock, and he's gonna get off in the grass. He does not hit anything though, Jacob. So that's a good sign. He's just gonna lose some track position. And now you see Alexander Miller is on the button, and he's a multiple race winner in the Horizon IndyCar Series. Is going to cruise to that championship. Alex Miller now all over the back of Caleb Brashear as Rashad Craig has reached out and begun to draw away from this field, Jacob.
Well, that's the thing here too, right? Is given that there's so few passing opportunities, that track position is so very important, and I'd be surprised to see if Logan Edwards can make it through on these cars that he's wound up behind, as we see Alex Miller start to slowly reel in Brashear now. We'll see if anybody can make a pass towards the pointy end of the field. You know, you got to imagine a lot of these cars are going to be fairly close on pace as we watch Brashear lock up, and Miller's there, but
I was going to say we're on board with Alex Miller looking out of his right eyeball, and you saw it. Caleb Brashear locked the fronts up going into turn 7, and that allowed Alex Miller to briefly draw alongside. He couldn't quite make it work, and so Alex Miller is forced to follow, but he is all over the gearbox of Caleb Brashear. As we head now to the inside of turn 11A and 12, Alex Miller is going to go through. Logan Edwards says, I want a piece of that action, see if I can't get by my Luke Mansky Racing Esports machine. Does not work. Alex Miller is going to go through in a second, Jacob.
And that's going to be critical if he could start to work the pace here, but he has a bit of a moment up the hill here. We'll see if he'll be able to hold on to it coming through the rest of these S's back towards that downhill right-hander.
Well, and all that fighting did, and this is a 5-car train now for second. You've got Miller, Brashear, Edwards, Thomas Van Kirk, and Milan Vogelsang has pulled into the back of this train. So you've got 5 cars now looking at what essentially at second spot, and they're all more or less right together, Jacob. But they're not getting any closer to Rashad Craig. Rashad saw the fight in the rearview mirror, and he has lit the afterburners. Rashad Craig now 5.6 seconds clear of Alex Miller, and he was over a second quicker than Alex Miller that last time through. Rashad Craig is out for a Sunday drive, and there's Rashad. At this point, tell us, if we jump on board with Rashad Craig, tell us what he might be doing that's allowing him to pull out this advantage, Jacob.
Well, he doesn't have to negotiate other cars within his zip code. That's the biggest thing here, right? You put, you could fit two Indy cars side by side around the bulk of this track, but through the corners, you got to kind of really play it nice and safe to be able to do that. And that slows you up a lot. We saw it when, Miller and Brashear were going back and forth, trading tire lockups and getting alongside of each other. That brought a lot of cars back into that fight for the bottom two steps of the podium.
It most certainly did. Do want to point out Rashad Craig is going to have another car in his zip code. That is the lap machine of Joao Pereira, who runs in 18th spot. Pereira, this is a single split, and Pereira, not a name that you would normally see in these top split races. He's getting a crack at the big time tonight, but he's 8 laps in and already set to go a lap down here. Joao Pereira has already made one pit stop. Do want to point out Robert Nelson with a meatball. He is going to have to come and respect that. He'll pull his car on the pit lane, and so Robert Nelson is going to be out of this race at 7 laps in. But Rashad just so very smooth, Jacob, as he negotiates this course.
And that's the thing here, too, is it's with how easy it is to overstep in every corner, you're almost always going to be better off playing it a bit safer, rolling into the corners rather than trying to spike the pedals, because that's what's going to ultimately try to send you off the track around every single one of these corners here.
Do want to let our fans at home know that Caleb Brashear has gone back past his Luke Mansky Racing Esports teammate Caleb Brashear, and so here's a look at that. Brashear just he runs a little bit wide at turn 3, and that's all it takes, Jacob. Logan Edwards ready to pounce, and they will attempt to give chase on Alexander Miller with the Luke Mansky cars swapping spots, but they've still got a big problem, Jacob. This group is still 0.8 of a second a lap slower than Rashad Craig.
And some of that, too, might just be having to manage the tires after having so many lockups and slides. And
whoa. Thomas Van Kirk runs off the course. Milan Vogelsong gets in the back of him. I don't see any wing damage on Vogelsong, but that was kind of hairy, Jacob, as you see Robert Nelson navigating his way to the pit lane, broken rear wing on that car. It's worth also reporting that Joao Pereira has pulled his car off the course rather than be lapped. And he is punched out of the number 18 machine. But Robert Nelson, the number 4 car in this race, Jacob, is going to be out here with a broken rear wing at 9 laps into the event.
It looks like Van Kirk had a bit of a similar moment to what we saw Edwards earlier, where he just got a little bit too much of that second curb through the chicane there and went off and had to kind of climb it back into the path of Vogelsang.
He most certainly did. We'll jump up on the blimp and have a look at Alex Miller and the Luke Mansky car of Logan Edwards behind him. He's got 2 Luke Mansky cars, Jacob. They are in hot pursuit of Miller, and I don't know that it's going to be too much longer before Logan Edwards makes the dive. Alex Miller is, by the way, using his push to pass a little bit more liberally than his pursuers. Rashad Craig has yet to touch his. We'll go ahead and put that up on. The board. And I say a little bit more liberally, Jacob. It's not a huge deal, right?
No, I think this is going to be a track where you see push to pass maybe play a bit less of a role than, say, some of the other tracks we see more regularly on the IndyCar schedule, just given how difficult it is to get cars side by side, let alone where you can stick in the toe of somebody for any significant amount of time to really maximize that push to pass benefit.
Now, I will say this. We're looking at this from the drone cam, and thank you so much to Whiplash Sim Cams for the pictures. Looking at this, I did notice going through turn 2 there, Jacob, the front rotors on Alex Miller's car were aglow. Not so for this car, Logan Edwards. Did you notice that, Jacob?
And so that could just be the brake balance on his car too, right? He may be running a bit more front brake balance. You can adjust the brake bias in this car, and it is something a lot of drivers tend to roll kind of evenly across all the tires, but some people do like having it a bit more on one set of tires versus the other. That may just be that slight difference in the tool choice there.
It could be, and it could also be a story if Alex Miller does start to lose some pace on these red alternate tires. It could be that he's got so much front brake bias in it that you can cook the fronts. That's something that I struggle with. I like a lot of front bias on road courses, Jacob, and it always seems to be at the expense of severe tire wear later in the run. So you got to watch that. It feels better and it is quicker on the short term, but it can definitely hurt you through the long term. And speaking of a guy that's not being hurt, we're going to get back up and have a look at Rashad Craig. He is out for a Monday night drive, Jacob. 9.7 seconds now is the advantage for Rashad as he comes out of the carousel and back toward turn number 8. He's just out for a cruise, Jacob, or 7 and 7A rather. This is turn 8. But he's just out for a cruise.
This isn't a bad track to cruise around either, especially given how engaging every one of these corners is. If you could put them all together and put them all together comfortably, you're in for a good time.
Most certainly so. Do want to apologize to the fans at home. Jacob, I have suffered a technical malfunction. My iRacing has completely frozen and gone away. If you could, Jacob, just kind of describe the action. I will try to get the feed back here. I have no idea why that happened. As a matter of fact, that has not ever happened to me before. Give me just a second, and I'll see if I can't get back in. I'll see if I can't get back in here.
Glazang and Vankirk have fallen about a second or two back. They're split apart about 2 seconds away from each other as well. It's pretty much 2-second gaps all the way down through the rest of the field that I can tell anyway. It seems pretty much everybody's gotten into their little bubble now, and they're going to start slowly chipping off these laps. We're not even halfway through just yet as we get on to lap 12 here. It'll be interesting to see if we see drivers try to extend past that halfway mark and run, 25 laps, if it's at all possible. I'm not quite sure what the fuel number is here, but I'd imagine it's only going to be slightly longer than the halfway point of this race. It's about a half second between Miller and Edwards, and then about another second back to Brashear. That's going to be the closest battle on the track as it stands. Rashad Craig is now catching onto the back of Lance Simon, who will be at the tail end of the lead lap. Simon running in 16th. They're heading out of the carousel right now. Simon's going to pull over and let Rashad on through. Good on Simon for being aware that that is the leader behind him. You'll have Alfieri running in the 15th spot just up the road, about 5 seconds or so. And that'll be the next car that'll be in the zip code of Rashad. It looks like Alex Miller slowly started to stretch his legs over the course of this lap. We'll see what the time is as they cross the line. It's very dependent on where you see these cars on track as to how the gap is building up, but it is starting to look like Miller is slowly starting to work away from both the Luke Mansky cars behind him.
Do want to thank everybody for their patience. It did not require a full restart, Jacob, but just now getting back into the session. So I do thank everybody for sticking with us. Jacob Collins doing an awesome job on the radio style call, and do want to thank you. Luke Mansky Racing Esports. No, we are under a temporary technology delay. I am re-entering the server. Just about loaded back in. We should have pictures restored here in less than 2 minutes. That is.
Can we get like that fun color TV gag they pulled in Sweden where they like pulled the rope and then it was magically in color? Can we get that with like the?
I like that. I think it would be more fun if I just went and got a new computer. I think this one, Jacob, after 6 years of loyal service, is just about had it.
You gotta give it the old Viking funeral and send it off into the ocean.
I think that's a great idea.
Well, you know what's also looking like a great idea right about now is being Rashad Craig. He's extended now out to almost 11 seconds over Alex Miller in second. And he's just made it by, I believe that's going to be... Where's the yellow car? Who's yellow?
I don't know, but just to let everybody into the know here, Jacob, I am back in the server, and so we should have pictures restored here in just a couple of moments. Thank you so much, everybody, for your patience. You are watching the P1 Broadcasting Network and our coverage of the iRacing Indy Open Series. A bit of a technology issue for whatever reason. The session froze on me. I got the boot, but no worries. We are just about back here at Sonoma.
That yellow machine was a Pennzoil yellow submarine of Robert Nelson. He got back out there circulating after that rear wing damage. Good to see him at least logging the laps and trying to learn as much as he can.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing, right? Like, you know, just because you've got damage, Robert Nelson is not a name that we see in these races a lot. You want to give a good accounting of yourself, and you also want to make sure that you get as much experience as possible.
The only way to learn is to do. You can do a lot of things, but you still got to do
them. Touche, Jacob. All right. I think we have got pictures restored. There we go. We have come back. So there you go. We are watching once again the fight between Alex Miller, Logan Edwards, and Caleb Brashear. Vogelsang has fallen back from this trio, and it remains, Jacob, in my opinion, probably the best battle on the racetrack.
Yeah, it looks like Isabel P. Matthews has made it past Vankirk for the 6th spot and starting to pull away now. That would have been the only other thing otherwise. Looks like pretty much everybody else is still around 2 seconds apart from one another, and this is about the battle for second, third, fourth here is as close as we're getting throughout the rest of the field.
It is indeed. There's Isabel Matthews, and give Isabel her due. Started 7th, and she's made up a spot. Currently runs in 6th. That's another name that we haven't seen a whole lot in these broadcasts, Jacob. But given a fine account of herself, 6th is nothing to sneeze at here. Back to the battle for second, though, because that is the battle. There's a Luke Mansky car of Logan Edwards, and big lockup on the front, and that may let Caleb Brashear through. It does not. Logan able to get it back going again as they head toward the carousel.
And that's the thing, too, right, is it's so easy to just get a little too deep anywhere on this track, and that's all it takes for a car to get alongside of you and make up a spot. And that could have been the case just as well right now.
It most certainly could have, and there they are. It's Miller. And then that dropped Logan Edwards nearly a second behind Alex Miller. Not only that, Jacob, but we're approaching the point where we're going to see pit stops here. We had thought, I was talking with Rashad Craig earlier today. I would think anywhere at lap 20 to 23 is going to be the stop. Rashad basically can select wherever he would like to stop, given that he has a now nearly 12-second advantage over Alexander Miller. And there's Rashad, and give him his due. he's already cresting the hill at turn 3 and getting ready to go through turn 4 down toward the carousel, while these other cars, they're just now getting across the start-finish line, Jacob.
I think the biggest thing will be is trying to be out away from the traffic in and out of the stop, right? We've seen some of these lap cars come through these first couple cars. We saw, I believe, just behind this group of 2nd through 4th, we saw Nelson off the course rejoin behind them. And that's going to be probably the biggest impedance in terms of being able to continue the charge ever forward of any of these cars near the front of the field.
Yes, they are. Now, Logan Edwards is closed pretty much right back up on the back of Alex Miller. We'll jump on board Logan Edwards. He is the Luke Mansky car. The Luke Mansky cars are all painted identically, with the exception of the mirrors, roll hoops, and end plates. Logan Edwards is identifiable because his is the car with the purple trim. Caleb Brashear with the royal blue trim. And there you go. And Logan Edwards trying desperately to catch up with Alex Miller, doing a fine job, Jacob. Just can't quite get, he's been there, but just can't quite make the move.
And this is one of those road courses that I would say drives kind of like how we see short ovals do on the oval side of things, right? Is you've got lots of really, really technical corners, very tight corners at that, and you're basically trying to put yourself in a spot where if a car ahead of you makes a mistake, you can capitalize and get alongside of them and make that pass.
Yes, indeed. And there's only a couple places you can do it. Riding on board Logan Edwards, we're going to look out the back of Logan, and that's the difference between himself and teammate Caleb Brashear. You see the blue roll hoop in plates and mirrors on Brashear's machine. And that's the difference between Logan Edwards and Alex Miller. He's closed right back up. It is worth reporting that Caleb Brashear has used up 50 seconds of push to pass since we last talked about him. And Jacob, that's going to be a story as we come down to get the black tires here, the primary tires. You're going to want the push to pass when you're on those primaries. They are significantly slower. And that may be why Miller, Rashad Craig, some of the others have more or less saved theirs. I'll tell you who isn't saving any. Isabel P. Matthews down to 125 seconds. Everybody else, the next lowest in the top 10, that's going to be Logan Edwards. He's got 151 seconds. Rashad Craig has not touched his. Alex Miller, 178 seconds of push to pass. As we work lap 20 of 40, we are going to turn it over to halfway this time by, Jacob.
And with how quick the laps are around here, we're seeing guys run, second on down around that 117 and change mark. It's basically going to come down to who can get in and out of the pits ahead of one another and likely who can reduce mistakes, especially on the cold tires. We've seen it catch a number of cars out over the course of the last couple weeks. It's just cold tires seem to be something that's plagued a lot of these more technical tracks. We saw it especially at the Nürburgring with the battle between Edwards and Alexander in the late stages of that race, and that's what it came down to. Miller's coming to the pits.
Yeah, Alex Miller is going to come to the pit lane. Andre Alfieri was the blue car that you saw off to the side, and he just clipped the curb too much at the S's. He had a wild ride down the hill, Jacob, and then finally just kind of noses it into the tires here. He's going to be able to keep it going, get it back to the pit lane, but Andre Alfieri has kind of a forgettable night, go from bad to worse, and there he comes into the pit lane. That means that the first one to blink in terms of pit stops is this man, Alex Miller. He is up on the jacks. He will come back down, and to my eye, this may hand an advantage, and he's going back out on the red sidewalls. Jacob, he did not change compounds.
That's part of why I was partially confused with some of the comments earlier on in the races. It sounds like there may be an issue with this track being used in this schedule. For those out of the loop, they recently rescanned Sonoma. I believe it's new for this season. And they added a quarter-mile oval configuration that takes place in the hairpin, which gives the opportunity for Sonoma to come up as an oval, which does not require the tire change rule, which I think is what some of these drivers are suspecting is going on here.
Yeah, Alex Miller did not change compounds. Do want to point out that we had the question from the Luke Mansky team. Yes, Rashad Craig is on the alternate tires. And so there's Rashad as he leads away 14 seconds over Logan Edwards. Caleb Brashear has pulled onto the pit lane, and we'll take a look at Brashear's stop. Here he comes. He's going to bring Milan Vogelsong and Anthony Heitzma with them. This is a very long pit lane. You actually have to go down the full length of the Grand Prix course through the hairpin and around. And you remember back in the day, Jacob, it was the advantage before the invention of before the invention of pit lane speed limits. It used to be, Jacob, that you wanted your pit box to be the one closest to the end of that hairpin, so you could just roar straight out of the pit lane. Here comes Rashad Craig. So watch this. He's going to have to come all the way down. We've been told this is going to be treacherous, by the way. He's going to come down through the pit lane. There's the actual pit speed limit line. And Dale Earnhardt Sr. used to favor pit box number 1 right there because he could launch unrestricted all the way out onto the racetrack and have an unabated run toward turn number 1. He felt like that was a huge advantage. But here comes Rashad Craig, and we're going to see what Rashad does. This is going to be instructive, Jacob.
Well, it's also been instructive that we've been informed this is actually running on the oval license, hence why we're seeing a very goofy SOF alongside the kind of the numbering of the cars here tonight.
Indeed, indeed. There's Rashad Craig, and he comes back down on the alternate tires. And so this could be one of those weeks where it's just kind of an oddball race all the way around. But there goes the Indy Alliance machine of Rashad Craig. Critically, he does not lose the lead. Logan Edwards is now onto the pit lane, and he is going to take the red alternate tires. Isabel P. Matthews, by the way, Isabel is going to come off on the red tires. She started on the blacks on the primaries. Tyler Langenberg is going to come get himself a set of red alternates. Milan Vogelsong, he came back out on primaries, Jacob.
I think this actually makes it slightly more interesting not having the tire compound change rule. We're seeing cars abide or not abide by it, and we'll see how that plays out as Vogelsang, I believe, is looking to the inside of Matthews here.
Vogelsang is looking to the inside of Matthews, and here you go. Milan Vogelsang is going to get past Isabel Matthews, and there they head. And the cold tires on Isabel Matthews' car not agreeing with that machine. And here comes the Luke Mansky cars of Caleb Brashear. Tyler Langenberg keys his microphone. Brashear is missing a front wing, Jacob.
That's not going to be good for speed, last I checked.
That will not help Caleb Brashear through these fast sweeping corners here at Sonoma. Here's Brashear. He's going to get past. He's going to get past the lap machine. I believe that is Michael Pennant, and he's going to continue to soldier on. But Caleb Brashear with a broken front wing, and we'll see if he elects to come to the pit lane and change that. He will not, Jacob. So I guess he's thinking maybe it's not affecting him as much as it looks.
Yeah, for those out of the know, you can actually look this up. I was unfamiliar with it as well up until recently when it was introduced, is that they did a demonstration run of, I believe, dirt sprint cars on what the oval configuration here is. So it utilizes the hairpin corner, the traditional NASCAR hairpin corner, and then kind of cuts off in the middle of the, I guess, the asphalt runoff that they've got leading up to it. So it's a little quarter mile. You can go around and drive around on it in the sim and the car of your choosing. But you can indeed think inside the oval here at Sonoma. I believe they actually changed the track signage to no longer include the think outside the oval slogan that Sonoma has kind of been synonymous with.
There you go. And you can kind of see that island area, Jacob, and what might make that up here at Sonoma. Alex Miller runs along in second. Let's kind of go through the field just to reset it for everybody. Your leader is Rashad Craig, and there he is, the Indy Alliance Racing entry, the defending series champion, and he has built a 12-second lead over this man, Alex Miller. And there's Alex. He runs along in the second spot. Logan Edwards is third for Luke Mansky Racing Esports, and there is Logan. Again, the purple trim on Logan's car. Mylan Vogelzang is fourth. In fifth, you've got Isabel Matthews, and she has finally warmed up the tires there, Jacob. And so Matthews runs along in fifth. Caleb Brashear, he's soldiering along with that broken front wing, Jacob. And he's in sixth, and he's got kind of a cushion, kind of a 2-second cushion back to Thomas Van Kirk. And their lap time's fairly similar. As a matter of fact, Brashear was quicker that last time through than the automobile of Thomas Van Kirk. And here's Thomas. Dunder Mifflin from the office on the side of that car. Rashad Craig sets the fastest lap of the race. 1:16.0. That is moving, Jacob Collins.
It most certainly is.
But there's Thomas Van Kirk. Anthony Heitzma is in eighth, and there's Anthony. Nice run for the number 10 car. He soldiers along in eighth. Tyler Langenberg has certainly had his fun today. Langenberg did not take qualifying time. He started in the very back. He's made up 9 spots, Jacob, but he's also been off the course and been involved in some contact earlier. But Langenberg continuing to drive through the field. Brian Autry is in 10th in the Scotty Brayton car. And there's Brian Autry. Frankie Franchica, who we followed in qualifying in the number 7, the orange. I want to say that's the Arrows livery. Would that be accurate, Jacob? Orange Arrows.
I don't recall. I believe that's actually going to be a MotoGP livery on that machine.
Well, they were very similar. The factory Honda bikes and the Arrows Formula One team were very similar. I believe that's the original Arrows Orange Arrows Formula One livery. You may not be old enough for Arrows, Jacob. That may have been a little bit before your time. They went broke early 2000s, mid 2000s.
No, I think I'm a bit more familiar with the orange Spiker car. That's the one I remember.
Ah, very good. Of course, Nicky Hayden, who is the guy that the reason I raced the number 69. He won a MotoGP World title on a bike very similar to that. We just saw Glenn Cate go sideways in the 7-Eleven special. Homage to Tony Kanaan there. And there he is. Uncle Robin Glakis has caught right up to the back of Glenn Cate. And so we'll stick with this and see if Robin Glakis can get through the number 14 and improve a spot here, Jacob. As they blast up the hill.
And blast they do, because as we kind of watched through that qualifying run with Frankie, is you're not seeing a lot of the corners that you're coming up the hill here. You basically have to just know where the corner is and slow up for it appropriately.
Most certainly so. We're going to get a look out the left eyeball of Robin Glakis as he chases down Glenn Cate. And you can kind of tell what Jacob's talking about. Very, very, very few references as you go down the drag strip approaching turn 7, turn 7A, you're through there. And then you really can't see all the way to the bottom of the hill. You know these corners are there. The exit's blind there. You crest the hill, and now there's no reference to brake for this chicane, Jacob. So you're blind on the brakes there. You can't see around. You can't see the exit of turn 10 either. And then there's, other than the cones and the pin entry, you don't know really where to brake for 11A. And then head out toward turn number 12 and watch the crests and the hills. And I invite everybody to just listen as Robin Glakis navigates the top of the hill here. What's incredible about those corners, Jacob, is not only are the exits blind, but those turns 2 and 3A, those are also off camber.
Yeah, it constantly feels like the car is just kind of falling away from you everywhere you put it around here, even coming down through the S turns down the hill as we watch Rob navigate this hairpin to get towards those. As you basically are trying to aim for the curves, but you can't even really see the curves with where they're located, right? They kind of start past the visibility point coming up towards them. And that especially rings true for that hairpin or the chicane at the bottom of the hill.
It most certainly does. We've got a battle now for second. Logan Edwards has caught Alex Miller and is all over the gearbox of the number 5 machine as we head down toward turns 9 and 9A. One more time through the chicane, but Logan Edwards is there, Jacob.
Well, as we saw in the opening stint, being there and being able to pass are two very, very distinct things here.
Yes, they are. Do want to point out that is a lap machine in front of this battle, and that car will pull out of the way. I believe that was Lance Simon, who did the right thing. He doesn't want to interfere with the battle for a second. But here comes Logan Edwards, and even from the roll hoop, the exit of this corner is blind. That is how much. That is how much of an elevation change there is right there. And the car just wants to absolutely fall away from you there. If you remember, did you ever play Gran Turismo 2, Jacob? Is that something that you've done, the old PS2 game?
That would have been well before my time, Mark.
So Sonoma was in that game, and if you did not hit that corner correctly, it would almost catapult you off into the tires. It was very, very difficult to make that corner correctly. It is also the site of some pretty famous photographs. When you see the early '90s stock cars with the left front lifted complete, or the right front lifted completely off the ground, that's where those photographs are always taken, is right there at that corner here at Sonoma.
Well, we just saw Miller have a bit of a moment off the chicane there. It doesn't look like he lost any significant amount of time to Edwards through that exchange, but he's going to lock up into the hairpin here, and this might be the opportunity Edwards has been looking for.
Yes, it is. Logan Edwards is going to have the speed advantage over Alexander Miller. Miller, though, hits the push to pass, and he will extend away from Logan Edwards one more time as we head back up the hill. Jacob, Logan Edwards, though, all over the back of Alex Miller. Do want to thank everybody for tuning us in here on the P1 Broadcasting Channel. You are watching the IndyCar Series Monday Night Top Split live from Sonoma. If you haven't already done so, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1, be notified of all future iRacing broadcasts. Jacob, we are not that far now from 1,500 subscribers, closing in on it, 1,452 at last count. Add your name to the list because we've got a long line of high quality action here on the P1 Broadcasting Channel. Tonight, it's the past, the present, and the future of IndyCar racing. You are watching the present of IndyCar here at Sonoma, the IR18. At 9 o'clock, it's going to be the Indy Next, so the future is going to happen. Jacob Collins is going to be bringing you that race from Olton Park. And then at 9:05, the Onyx Open Wheel Lotus 79 Series heads to Iowa. And somebody, a birdie, Jacob, told me that there was going to be a Miller American entered in that race. And so do keep your eye out. On that one. If Ryan O'Donohue is in the crowd still, he can enjoy me getting upside down. Tomorrow night, we're going to have the IndyCar Oval Series live from Las Vegas, 7:15 p.m., and that's going to be immediately followed by the Indy Next Oval Series Top Split live from Gateway at 8:30. On Wednesday, we've got the Horizon IndyCar Series. The penultimate round of the Horizon IndyCar Series goes live at 8 o'clock. That is from Good Phoenix, Jacob. We're going to go to Good Phoenix. And we'll also have the Formula Indy Series from Portland at 8:20 p.m. The IndyCar Qualifying Series second split. So the second split from the Indy Grand Prix circuit is going to happen on Thursday. That is live at 7 p.m. That'll be myself, and I believe, Jacob, you're going to join me on that call. Is that accurate?
That'd be news to me.
It'd be news to you. Well, maybe so. But I will have that one. We'll give Jacob a well-deserved break. And that's it. AMA has concluded their season, and so we'll be back next Monday night in the Indy Open Oval, in the Indy Open Series top split. And Jacob, we are going to be next week. We're coming to them live from Homestead, and won't that be a treat?
It certainly go round and round, that's for sure. We did see Logan Edwards attempt to make the lunge on Miller going down into that chicane. They might have banged side pods or wheels as Edwards looked to the inside, which turns into the outside by the time you get to the corner. But he sent it in there, but no dice.
He most certainly did. Logan Edwards has been close several times. He's been able to draw alongside. Alex Miller, but he hasn't been able to quite make the move. Meanwhile, Isabel Matthews is all over Mylan Vogelsong, and there they are. This is a battle for 4th and 5th. So do keep in mind, we've got two very active battles on the racing surface. Logan Edwards looking at the back of Alex Miller. Mylan Vogelsong is sweating out Isabel Matthews for 4th and 5th. Now, there's 14 seconds between Vogelsong and Edwards. However, these are the two hottest battles on the course, Jacob.
You know, if you go back a bit further in the field, you've got Kirk and Langenberg within about a second and a half or 2 seconds of each other. So it seems like everybody's at least got somebody to chase or keep behind them. As we see the gap start to kind of grow now a little bit between Miller and Edwards as they're going to come up on the lap car. I believe that's going to be Alfieri again.
It is indeed. We'll jump on board Tyler Langenberg as he gives chase to Thomas Van Kirk. And this gap has been closing rapidly. Langenberg 0.8 of a second quicker than Thomas Van Kirk. This is an alternate tire on Langenberg versus a primary tire on Thomas Van Kirk's battle. And that's never a battle. That's never something when the alternate is preferred that the primary is going to win, is it, Jacob?
Well, I think you might underestimate just how difficult it is to pass here, right? We've seen it be a struggle for cars to get alongside of each other on roughly equal tires. And even at a slight tire disadvantage, it might be entirely possible here as we see Langenberg look to the inside here coming down the straightaway. He's going to get on the push to pass down the hill here. He's looking to make this pass as soon as he can, but we'll see if he can chalk up anything before we get on to lap number 35 here.
We'll see indeed. Through the chicane at turns 9 and 9A they go. Through turn 10, I got to believe this is just a matter of time before Tyler Langenberg makes it past Thomas Van Kirk and assumes that 7th spot. Isabel Matthews has fallen away from Miles Vogelsang just a little bit. Logan Edwards is still within shouting distance of Alex Miller, but this is the battle, Jacob, as we head back for the top of the hill.
At the top of the hill rapidly turns back into the bottom of the hill as we descend down towards that chicane again. This has been seemingly the most popular spot to try to gauge up a move for Edwards. Heavy usage of the curbs there. We're going to be down to 5 laps to go coming around at the stripe.
We most certainly are. There's Logan Edwards as he looks at the back of Alex Miller. Do want to point out that Alex Miller does hold a slight push-to-pass advantage, 105 to 90 here, and Miller still on the button a little bit. So 103 to 90 in favor of Alex Miller over Logan Edwards in terms of push-to-pass. The other battles, Isabel Matthews has only about half as much push-to-pass as Mylan Vogelsang, and then Tyler Langenberg has gotten past Thomas Van Kirk. So promote Langenberg to 7th, Van Kirk to 8th. As we watch the battle for 2nd, this continues to be the best one on the course. It is Logan Edwards still chasing Alex Miller for that 2nd spot. Do want to thank everybody for joining in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, so that you can subscribe to all future P1 broadcasts just like this one. Remember, tomorrow night is the flagship broadcast. It is going to be the INDYCAR Oval Series live from Las Vegas, and that's going to be immediately followed by the Indy Next broadcast. My partner in crime, Jacob Collins, is going to have that for you at 9:30. Do you think it's a situation, Jacob, where Logan Edwards is going to have to, he's going to have to almost lunge at it?
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much seemed to be what he was trying to do earlier on, is just kind of lunge, get alongside, and pull the drag race coming towards the hairpin. And he'd have the inside if he's able to get alongside to the right of Miller through that chicane. It's just you have to get there and you have to be able to hold it. And that's very, very difficult to do, because it's already very difficult to navigate that corner even without trying to make a pass.
Yes, indeed. Do want to welcome Shane Coker from the Votive Racing League in. My brain is not hazy. Then again, a couple of high lifes and a good cigar kind of brought my brain back to life last night. After that one, Jacob, you had a good night. You ran on the podium, finished one spot.
Well, running on the podium and finishing there are two distinct things, but yes.
You ran on the podium. You ran one spot better than I did. So kudos to you, sir. My hat's off to you. It was an interesting evening in the Votive 300 at Indianapolis last night. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, go back and enjoy 300 miles from Indianapolis in the Votive Racing League. It doesn't appear to me, though. Logan Edwards was in that race last night. Alex Miller was in that race last night. It does not appear to me that Logan Edwards is going to get past Alex Miller unless something crazy happens. Jacob, it just doesn't seem like he can draw enough momentum, even with the push to pass.
Well, Mark, now that you say it, he's going to do it.
Well, it's going to have to be a late braking maneuver into either turn 7 or turn 9. Maybe if Miller slips up, he can generate a run from turn 10 to 11. Maybe if he slips on exit of 9A. I don't know, though, Jacob. It's going to be awfully tough as they head now toward the S's from turn 7A.
It only takes one mistake, regardless of the size, to get that car back in contention, as we see Edwards creep in on the entry of that chicane again. Seems to have it on the entry, but not quite on the exit, as Miller will start to pull away just that little bit.
I think he's sizing him up, Jacob. I think he knows he's going to get one lunge at it, and he's trying to figure out where to do it. White flag is in the air. 2 laps to go here. Rashad Craig is just about ready to come back and get 1 lap to go. 17 seconds for the defending champ. He is cruising away. Tyler Langenberg, interestingly enough, has caught Caleb Brashear, and here's those two. Brashear gamely hanging on with that broken front wing, but I think Langenberg is going to have him here, Jacob, just by virtue of having a whole race car. And Brashear is going to have to be careful not to fight him too much so he doesn't fall back into the clutches of Thomas Van Kirk. Back to this battle for the second spot. Here's the best opportunity to pass on the course right here, Jacob. And Miller got a great launch off of turn 7A.
Yeah, I don't think Edwards is going to be close enough to look at it here.
He does
get close.
He shows, but he's not able to get close enough to stick the nose in there and alter the line of Alex Miller. He's going to have 2 more shots now. One at 7 and 1 at 9, we think. And here comes the final lap. Rashad Craig well on his way to a win tonight. Alex Miller and Logan Edwards are going to settle the second spot. Caleb Brashear is gamely holding off Tyler Langenberg. That is something that we may want to flip back to, Jacob, because I don't think Alex Miller, I don't know that Logan Edwards, if he doesn't make the lunge into turn 7, is going to be close enough at turn 9. Langenberg just fell back off of Brashear incidentally. Caleb Brashear doing a magnificent job. He's raced the entire second stint with half a front wing. Here we go, turn 7. There goes Logan Edwards to the inside. He just can't quite get there, Jacob.
Miller locks up, though. That might give Edwards an opportunity down the hill here. We'll see. It looks like Miller's going to get a good run down the hill, but they might be close enough together that Edwards thinks about trying to make this move, heading down into this chicane for the final time.
There we go. Just not close enough. You've got a car very slow. That's Brian Autry there going through the grass. It's not going to be enough. Alex Miller is going to continue along. He'll soldier home and finish second. And we are immediately, maybe, there we go. There's the run for second. We're immediately going to flip back to Caleb Brashear and Tyler Langenberg in the front. The front wing has finally shown itself. Langenberg got past Brashear and then immediately lit the tires on entry, slid it sideways.
I think that might be the most fun I've had in this car on a road course all year. That was incredible.
Slid it sideways. We do want to thank everybody for their patience. We had some technology issues earlier. Jacob, it didn't save my settings, and so you're hearing the drivers. Hopefully they mind their P's and Q's and their language. As we come through the final corner, is Langenberg going to be able to get Brashear?
I buzzed the tires.
Here he does not. Caleb Brashear is going to hold on and finish second, and we are going to get the voice chat off. We're going to get the voice chat off, and we're going to get everybody here some finishing results. I do want to thank everybody for your patience with the technology issues. That's something that's been a rarity for us, Jacob. These broadcasts have been pretty clean and clear for us for the most part. Tonight is really the first time I think I've really had a problem since we started doing this. So your final results from Sonoma: Rashad Craig is going to be your winner. Alexander Miller second. Logan Edwards will come home third. Isabel Matthews, Mile Vogelzang, who spun at turn 9 in the first hairpin on the white flag lap. Milan will come home in 5th. Caleb Brashear is 6th. Tyler Langenberg 7th. Thomas Van Kirk, Anthony Heitzma, and Glenn Cate will round out your top 10. In 11th, Frankie Franchica, Brian Autry 12th, Michael Pennant 13th, Uncle Robin Glakis, he'll bring it home 14th, and Lance Simon will be 15th. Andre Alfieri is 16th. Robert Nelson, he's going to be the final finisher, 17th, 4 laps down. Jael Pereira and Garrett Lilly did not finish tonight's race. They will be classified 18th and 19th. So an interesting race, Jacob. I'll be interested to see how it plays out with. I'll be interested to see how it plays out with the tire situation and the oval classification. If that's something, is that something that may get fixed midweek, or is that something that they'll let ride all week? Jacob, do you think?
I guess it depends. Does the community want to fix it? Because I don't know offhand if that's one of those that they can fix midweek or not. I know we've seen in the past things like setups get changed to midweek, weather, and whatnot, but I don't know if an entire license. I guess it would be kind of the inverse of the Auto Club situation we saw in IIS last season. So I guess it's something they could probably fix if it gets brought to their attention and corrected.
Very good. I'll tell you what else has been brought to my attention. Logan Edwards, Rashad Craig, and Alexander Miller are your top 3. Now, these are we had some different names in the field tonight, Jacob, but in the end, it wound up being 3 familiar names on the podium. And let's go grab the old narc brain, Logan Edwards. Logan, you've got Murph, you've got Jacob Collins in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Gotcha.
I'll tell you what, you and Alex staged a pretty eventful fight there for the middle step of the podium. You weren't quite able to get there. Is it a situation where Sonoma is just that difficult to pass, or was he hitting the button just at the right time to squirt away from you? Just couldn't quite get alongside.
Well, honestly, I think that this could have been a lot better if we run a better layout, because the parking lot chicane. But I think it's not as hard as it looks to pass here. I'm on new equipment, and I still don't have max confidence on the brakes. Especially with the wind today.
There you go, Jacob. What do you have for our third place finisher?
Yeah, it looks like there was a number of kind of confounding variables with the tire rule set being a bit different, given it's running under the oval license here tonight. Do you feel like that would have maybe played out a bit differently if people were kind of actually forced to change the tire compounds? You might have had something to kind of leapfrog through the tire change there, or is it just kind of trying to figure out where you could make your move and sticking it?
Well, I feel like if the tires were the same, everybody would just be on the primes to alt strategy instead. So I don't know if I would have been able to jump Alex in the pits. I also had really bad in-laps compared to him.
Well, there you go, Logan Edwards. You still come home third, man. A podium and a top split is nothing to sneeze at. Thank you so much for joining us here in the booth. Friends, family, sponsors, shout-outs. The microphone belongs to you, sir.
Thanks to Luke Pansky Racing Esports, Caleb, Will, Raphael, Luke. We're doing good in the Pro Series. We've got one driver who's in the window right now, which I'm super pumped for. And hoping to see you next Monday.
Absolutely. Well, keep going fast, having fun, Logan, and we'll see you at the next one, you hear?
Yes, sir.
That is Logan Edwards. He is going to run third tonight for second place. We are going to jump over to Alex Miller. Alex, you've got Murph, you've got Collins in the P1 booth. Talk to us about your day. That was relentless pressure from pretty much both Luke Mansky cars throughout the event. Somehow you held them both off.
Yeah, I can't really say I was expecting this going in. I guess because this wasn't like, an F1 track, all the tryhards didn't want to run this week. Like I did like some practice and was like, oh, I'm just going to run like 8th or something and be fine with it. And then all of a sudden I'm the number 5 car because of the oval license weirdness. And then everything kind of was just weird. And I was like, well, I have pace apparently. That's cool. So then I just kind of tried to make the most of it. In that first stint, both the Luke Mansky guys were kind of like, they were fast, but were very mistake prone. So like every time I was on them, they'd just kind of open the door and I took it. And I know how hard it is to pass around here if the person doesn't make a mistake. So I really was just kind of stuck with, I know the ball's in my court. I just have to not screw up. And I sure as heck tried to screw it up a couple times there, but I managed to hold them off, which was fun. I said it on the radio to him after the race. That was the most fun race I've ever had in this car on road, I think, ever. That was incredible.
Jacob?
Yeah, we saw another car on the road to Indy take place at Sonoma earlier this season with the USF 2000 here, although albeit a different layout in the Cup Long version. But kind of talk us through how the different cars kind of prepare you for getting up to, say, the IndyCar or navigating this track, because obviously the corners, for the most part, at least on the opening end of the track, remain the same. You've still got that carousel turn. But kind of talk us through the preparation you can have for some of those other cars that kind of build you up to the IndyCar here tonight.
Yeah, I think really it's just memorizing the fast line, because even though the cars are so different, the basic racing line is kind of the same thing in everything, except for like very rare occasions. So kind of knowing vaguely what to do from those that USF race, I only did one, but knowing that kind of helped me when I hopped into a test drive earlier and decided to run a few laps of practice. It kind of helped me get in there. But other than that, I know it was the carousel layout of Sonoma, and I mean, I'll throw a hot take for the broadcast that is the superior Sonoma layout. So,
yeah, I don't think there's much debate that the Grand Prix layout here is the superior layout. But this is correct for the car, and so that's what they gave us in the sim. With that said, Alex, friends, family, sponsors, shout-outs, the microphone belongs to you, sir.
Oh no, I got to pull up my list again. But I can go off the top of my.
I always chide Gary Godso because he likes to move the screen, and I'm trying to read my stuff off the side of my car, and I keep telling him he can't do that. I'm old and forgetful. So,
fair. But yeah, thank you to Taylor Mills Racing for my time there. It helped me obviously get to the point where I'm able to get podiums in this car. And thank you to like Brendan Lichtenberg, Kyle Klendworth, just everyone in the community who's kind of helped out with that. And the Mirai crew, I'm not part of Mirai United VRT, but I'm close with a lot of those people, and they're all really fun and have always been supportive of me. So I always like to shout them out in my interviews anyways. And shout out to P1 Broadcasting for giving us the chance to even run these things on broadcasts. I feel like the only time I ever run this car on broadcast is on P1 anymore.
That's very true. I think I mean, I know we certainly do show a lot of these races, and we're happy to do it. Happy to have you up in the booth, Alex. Keep going fast, having fun. We'll see you at the next one.
Yeah.
It is Alex Miller, and for the winner tonight, we're gonna move on over to the Indy Alliance entry of Rashad Craig. Rashad, we talked earlier, and you mentioned pitfalls with tires. You mentioned pit entry. You said a lot of things about shocks and springs that I have no idea. I think you and Seb had a conversation earlier that I understood every 17th word in. All that added up to you coming home in victory lane in pretty dominant fashion, 18.8 seconds over your nearest pursuer. Kind of walk us through what it's like to have that kind of an edge on the field, and what do you have to do to keep yourself mentally in the game when you're building such a huge advantage?
To be fair, if you only understood like every 17th word, I'm like every 5. It's but it's it was a lot of practice. We were trying some new stuff to see how it would work out, and this time it did. Been working on this for a while, but as far as like the race goes, it's more just hitting marks, making sure I don't make mistakes, being nice and smooth with the car, and then every now and then I would kind of push a little bit harder, like just go from maybe like 95% up to 98, and then from there it's kind of just bringing it home really.
Yes, sir. We'll bring it home. You did. Mr. Collins, what do you have for Rashad Craig this evening? He is tonight's big winner.
Yeah, it looked like about the only thing that would have maybe have caused any issues was lap traffic here tonight. We saw, a lot of names that we might not normally see out on the track here tonight. Kind of talk us through what the expectations are for you. We had a lot of really cooperative lap traffic here tonight, but there may have been some instances in which there were cars in places that you weren't really expecting them at any point in time. So just kind of walk us through how you work your way through the back half of the field.
Yeah, like lap traffic was pretty great. They didn't do anything. They were super predictable. A lot of them let me by. There were times where I didn't even have to look at them. I could just run my line and they just let me through. But then there was a couple instances where I caught people in not the best of places. But it's really hard to pass here. So like if people are gonna let you by, it's like you really have to kind of work together on that. I really only had to make like one maybe sketchy pass on the hairpin in the final corner. But it's really just trying to time it so you can catch people in the best places, kind of lift off and try to catch people in straights or in good areas where they can let you by if possible.
Well, you caught everybody in the right place. You avoided all the troubles. This, I think, is the first time that you've won a race on the broadcast, even though you brought home the series crown in the last season. And so, Rashad, from a championship to now a race winner in the broadcast, thank you so much for joining in. You can have the microphone as long as you like. Friends, family, sponsors. The microphone belongs to you.
Just thanks to the team. Like we worked back and forth a lot to try something new, and it worked out really well. I'm really proud of it. Shout out to Cozy Threads, another sponsor, for keeping my hands warm up to the race because man, it's getting chilly out here now.
Yes, it is.
And and thanks to friends and family, and once again, thanks you guys for broadcasting. You guys are awesome.
You're more than welcome, Rashad. Thank you so much for your time. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one.
All right, see you guys.
Yes, sir. That is Rashad Craig. He is tonight's winner. Jacob, you know, it's one of those. It's one of those. The more things change, sometimes the more they stay the same. Rashad Craig had some new names in the field tonight, chasing him. At the end of the day, though, it wound up with Alex Miller, Logan Edwards filling out the podium. Great runs for Isabel Matthews and Milan Vogelsang. Caleb Bashir, I can't believe he drove the entire second half of that race with a broken front wing and came home 6th.
Well, you know, if you can manage your car, you can manage it in just about any condition as long as it's still able to move.
That is very true indeed. Do want to thank everybody for joining in tonight on the broadcast. We had a nice crowd this evening for the Indy Open Top Split from Sonoma. I do want to point out that this is one of 3 races here tonight. This is the present of IndyCar racing. If you want to get a good look at the future of it, take a look at Jacob Collins. He'll be back at 9 o'clock for the Indy Next Top Split from Olton Park. That's going to start at 9, and concurrent with that, you're going to have the past of IndyCar racing, the Onyx Open Wheel Lotus 79 Series, live from Iowa. That's going to be at 9:05. Tomorrow night, we're going to have the IndyCar. Tomorrow night is for ovals. Tuesdays are for ovals here at P1, with the IndyCar Oval Series Top Split from Las Vegas at 7:15 Eastern, immediately followed by the Indy Next Oval Series from Gateway. Wednesday, it's going to be a doubleheader starting at 8 o'clock with the Horizon IndyCar Series, and then the Formula IndyCar Series from Portland. The IndyCar Next qualifying Thrustmaster qualifying series for the Pro Series. We're going to have the second split from the Indy GP course. That'll happen at 7 o'clock on Thursday, and that'll put us right back here, Jacob, for the IndyCar Open Series Monday Night Top Split live from Homestead. That'll be at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 1 week from tonight. Do want to thank all the fans that tuned us in. Whiplash Simcams for the amazing views of Sonoma. We also want to thank the drivers, the competitors, for their participation, but most of all, the people that really make it possible. The military, the police, the firemen, the EMTs driving the ambulance, Jacob, and the nurse that unloads you when they get you there. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you so much. We will see you in just about 30 minutes. Have a great night, everybody.